Are you a dynamic, downtrodden, or dissatisfied declutterer? As we approach the end of 2022, there is no better time to reflect and evaluate on how you can turn things around.
You're listening to the Declutter Hub podcast, bringing you tried and tested, no-nonsense tips and advice from the leading experts in decluttering and organising your home. Now here are your hosts, Ingrid Jansen and Leslie Spellman.
Hello and welcome, listeners. I'm Ingrid.
And I'm Leslie.
Welcome to this last episode of 2022. We have another 52 under our belt, Leslie, and we want to thank all our loyal listeners for listening in and tuning in every week. And of course, we wanted to say thank you if you're here for the first time. We are so delighted that you're here and listening in to us.
I do really like recording the podcast. We always have a lot of fun, don't we?
Yes.
That's me. We do have a lot of fun actually recording the podcast. On reflection, my reflection and evaluation of 2022 is that I really like recording the podcast because it's just got a bit of everything thrown into the mix. So it is really good fun. And I'm delighted that we're here another 52 episodes in. Soon we're going to be like episode 779. Like, okay, we're still here talking. But anyway, if you're new to the Declutter Hub podcast, you are so very welcome. So you might not have been here for the previous 221 episodes. You might be just tuning in today, ready to kickstart yourself in 2023, maybe. But what you're going to find here is laughter, obviously, reality, empathy, really important to us, and advice by the bucket load. We just wanted to remind everyone as well, Ingrid, didn't we, about our lovely show notes. Ingrid puts them together so meticulously every week, and you definitely need to look at them. There's loads of cool stuff in there, other things that we've got, blogs, podcasts that are all relevant to this. And really importantly is that you can watch it on our show notes on YouTube. So our show notes is the place to go to watch things on YouTube, or you could go to YouTube itself, also possible. But do make sure you subscribe to our podcast as well so that it pops into your notifications every Friday. Ingrid.
Yes.
I took your job over. I
know. Thank you. It's nice. I'm glad. This is good. Very good.
I just want to shake things up for the last one in 2022.
Exactly. And I want to come clean to our listeners because we were preparing this podcast this morning and we were like, oh, let's look back on 2022 and look forward to 2023. And we kind of changed tack a little bit because while we were talking, the preparation took a bit longer than we thought it was going to take, wasn't it? Because we kind of, when we were talking, we realized actually there are three kinds of different declutterers out there, aren't there?
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? Because it's the 30th of December if you're listening to this when it comes out, and so it's the end of 2022, and it is a period of reflection and evaluation and thinking about what went well, what went wrong, what didn't go quite so well in 2022, and then looking forward to how that can change. And so we started to reflect ourselves, didn't we, and think about different people's journeys. So we talk about, it sounds like some kind of crazy cliche, doesn't it? But we do go on a journey. It's for sure when we are decluttering our house, there's no doubt about it. It is absolutely a decluttering journey. And we feel that often there are three different categories of people that, in terms of the way that they've gone on that journey and how they feel, how that journey is going so far. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we wanted to talk about so that you can have a real think about what you think about your decluttering journey so far and where you sit within this journey. So that perhaps if you're happy with your sit, with where you sit, that's amazing. Or if you're not happy with that, how do you then change that up and start to make progress? So there's a dynamic declutterer. We love. I just don't think I can do anything without alliteration anymore, Ingrid. I feel like every time we have to put something together creatively, I'm straight away to the dictionary looking for synonyms that begin with such and such a thing or whatever. So yeah, we have to use alliteration. And today we're talking about dynamic declutterers. It's all the D's, isn't it, Ingrid? So what kind of person do you think is a dynamic declutterer, and what does their journey look like?
I think a dynamic declutterer is somebody who says, right, I'm going to draw a line in the sand. What has gone before is gone before. I'm ready to take action. I want to declutter my house. I've realized how important this is for me. I'm going to listen to the podcast. I'm going to join the Facebook group. I'm going to get into Ingrid and Leslie's world. And I'm going to take all of their advice on board. And I'm going to start with decluttering my house. I'm going to take action and move forward. I don't want to stay anymore where I am. I want to move forward, and I want to make my life and myself feel and be better.
So basically, I think what you're saying is what we would consider to be a dynamic declutterer. And please don't feel that we spent a long time thinking about these terms. We just, pulled them out of a hat. So, but yeah, what we're saying. We just wanted to frame it a little bit, didn't we? So you could kind of understand where we were going with this. And so we think that a dynamic declutterer is somebody who's done a really good job at decluttering. So they've done the learning, they've done the, getting up and putting the work in, they've taken the action, and they are generally happy with the way their house looks. The mindset has probably changed, so they're not doing the shopping that perhaps they were doing before. So everything has changed, and that then makes them what we would consider to be a dynamic declutterer, doesn't it, Ingrid?
Yes. And I think it's really satisfying, to have these kinds of declutterers in our world, because we can see that all the things that we share everywhere in our membership, in our challenges, in our podcast, in our Facebook group, it's like, yes, action takers, we love it. This is fantastic. And we can see how it changes people in such a positive way.
Yes, but then we have people on the flip side of that, don't we, Ingrid? And this other phrase that we loosely pulled out this morning from nowhere is a downtrodden declutterer. We think it encompasses how a lot of people feel about how their decluttering journey has gone so far. So let's talk about somebody who is downtrodden.
Yeah, I think, these are the people who are like, I'm looking back on 2022. I'm either in the same place in my house and in my life as where I was last year, or I've even gone backwards. My house looks even worse than it was last time. What has happened here? It can be a lot of horrible things that have happened throughout the year. It may be an illness. It may be problems with work or depression or your health or your whole family situation. Something's happened. You've been stopped in your tracks. And you're like, I'm feeling so overwhelmed. Just get me out of my house. It just depresses me. I'm not going anywhere. I don't see any step forward. And I'm not happy. I'm just not happy.
Yeah, so perhaps the downtrodden declutterer, had lots of energy and inspiration and motivation at the beginning of 2022. And of course, we don't all start our decluttering journey in January, but many of us do have that spark of inspiration when it comes to January, and thought, this is the year that I'm going to do it. And slowly throughout the year, as you realize that your goals have not been realized, that's when you start to become a little bit downtrodden. This journey looks like complete drudgery, and you just think that you're never, ever going to be able to get your head above the sand. So that's what we mean with a downtrodden declutterer. And there are many of you out there, that's why we exist, to try and inspire and motivate you guys, to try and get you from downtrodden and to dynamic. But there's a whole section of people that are somewhere in the middle, isn't there, Ingrid? So we want to talk about the dissatisfied declutterer as well.
Yes. And I think these are the people who have done some decluttering, but they always look at everything they haven't done yet. And they forget to think, but actually, I have done things, but we are always so hard on ourselves. We beat ourselves down. We are negative about it. And we are only like, yeah, but I'm still only like a fifth up the mountain, and I still have so long to go, instead of going, oh, hold on a minute. I'm actually here, and look at the things that I've done already. So you're dissatisfied with what you're achieving instead of celebrating your wins.
Yeah, so you're always looking for a little bit more, and perhaps you are that person who looks at the dynamic declutterers and goes, why can I not be like that person? And that might not be somebody in this group. It might be a friend that you've got. You might go to their house, and every time you go in, you're like, oh, I just want a house like that. They make it look so simple. How does that work? So I think that, but what we wanted to talk about with those three categories of people, and of course, there are so many different emotions, habits, scenarios, homes, families that fit into all of those, that have an impact on how you're feeling. But it really is about how you feel about this decluttering journey. And what we wanted to talk about was all of these three people are still firmly on the decluttering journey. So even the dynamic declutterers, here's the thing, it never ends, does it, Ingrid? Sadly.
I think, Leslie, I think people are so like, what? Wait a minute. What do you mean it never ends? It never ends. And I feel like always a bit like a, what did you say last time? Negative Nancy?
Yeah, negative.
A positive Peter and a negative Nancy. I feel like negative Nancy sometimes. They were like, yeah, it never ends.
I know.
Everybody must go, but hold on a minute, you're a professional organizer. What do you mean it never ends? But it never ends. And we just have to be realistic about that.
So Ingrid, we've talked about the fact that it never ends, very depressingly. Like we're supposed to be inspiring people into the new year, and we're kind of like, yes, never ends. You'll always be on this treadmill of decluttering. But I think what we wanted to talk about was it's time. This is a great time of year for you to reflect on what has gone in 2022 and to go, okay, right. So things went perfectly, things went really well, things didn't go so well. What am I going to do to change this? What drove you mad in 2022 in the decluttering world? I'm talking about everything. There's many things that drove us mad in 2022, I'm sure. And what do you want to change? This is a time for you to do an evaluation, to work out where you're sitting and what you're going to do next year that's going to be different. So we want to talk a little bit about goals, don't we, Ingrid? And let's talk about what the goals might look like for those three different categories of people.
Yes. So if you are a dynamic declutterer, you might think to yourself, I actually didn't do too bad in 2022. But you realize you're not there yet. I mean, yes, we know the decluttering is never done, but the learning is never done either. So you might realize, actually, I've got a few things nailed here. My laundry's going really well. I'm thinking about what I'm coming into my house, but actually I want to work on my meal planning, or my house still looks very messy throughout the day and I want to work on my daily resets, or wow, the daily I've got under control, but the long term is still very like, I'm not even sure what's happening next week or next month. What's my plan here? So I think dynamic declutterers have other goals than people who are just starting out on their decluttering journey, but they still have things they want to work on.
Yeah, I think it's more about refining their craft a little bit. So people, we've got people in the membership, haven't we, Ingrid, who love it, and consider decluttering to be almost their hobby. And it's like, it's a fun thing to try and go a little bit deeper in certain categories of your home, to think about things. We've got people at the moment, starting to ask questions a little bit about minimalism. That's something that people are interested in. And so there are different things that might make you tick. You might also have some kind of life transition coming up where you want to prepare for what's coming, for example. So you might have done a fantastic job on your decluttering, but what we find is that a lot of people still want to do more for lots of different reasons. And so your goal, if you're a dynamic declutterer, you still need to have one for 2023 and beyond, but it's going to look a little bit different than it does to the people that are dissatisfied or downtrodden.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about our second thing then, Leslie, the dissatisfied declutterers. What could their goals be?
Yeah, so people in the middle, people who are dissatisfied with the way their decluttering journey has gone, I think it's really about evaluating what went well and what didn't go quite so well, and working out what does inspire you. When you did do some decluttering, what was it that made you take action? So was it all of a sudden and you just thought, this is the weekend that I'm going to do it? Did the stars align one day and you did it? Did you have a sort of concentrated journey over the year? Did you manage to break it down and say, right, this week I'm going to do, half an hour chunks, and that worked for you? So it's all about looking at what part of the decluttering journey is the thing that makes you that makes it be sustainable for you. I think that's it. So look at what worked well and do more of that, and work out how to fit that into what's coming in 2023. So I think you people that are dissatisfied tend to look on the negative side of it, as Ingrid said before, and look at all the things that they haven't done. But if you've made some progress, what was it that made you make that progress in decluttering? What was it that made you go, yes, today's the day I'm going to do my kitchen, my bathroom? So it's also important to take a look at which rooms. And so it might be that your decluttering journey has been really well. You've been dynamic in certain rooms of your house, but you've still got a long way to go. And there are other rooms that are still sitting there waiting for your attention. So it might be that's nailed and quite happy with where that's gone. And now this year is my year to concentrate on these particular rooms or these areas or this style of decluttering or this goal that I've got. So we're talking about you being a dissatisfied declutterer, but we're asking you to flip it around and look at what you've been satisfied with. What have you been satisfied with? Because that's where you need to focus your energy on doing more of that.
Yeah, and I think as well, Leslie, I think then you start to see the positive side. It's always, we keep a log, don't we, in the membership, that where our members can write down what their goals are for the month, and then we check in with them halfway through the month and at the end of the month. How are you doing? What have you done? And some of the members are like, yeah, I've done that one, and they put like little green ticks for themselves. And others are like, oh, I actually haven't done any of my goals yet, but you've now taught me to be positive, so let me write down the things I have done. And then often suddenly the penny drops. Actually, I've done more than I thought I was going to do. It's been a really busy month, but I still managed to do so and so. Or I've found a gap of time in my week that I always kind of frittered away with doing something else. And I've actually focused on that time. And I've put that time to, I don't know, thin out my photos, thin out my emails, open my post, whatever it is that you were doing before that suddenly seems to work and fit into place. That really helps you to really look at that positive momentum that you had and say to yourself, how can I create more of this positivity? Because I do see the changes around me happening. It might be minimal, but I'm moving forward and I'm not getting stuck and I'm not going back. I'm actually moving forward. And hey, I actually feel that I'm slowly but surely getting a little bit of control over my time, my diary, my house, the way I feel. It's all done with small steps. It's almost never done with massive leaps forward. Somebody said to me the other day, wow, Ingrid, I've only done 10 minutes per day, but previously I didn't do anything at all. And now, after just a couple of weeks, I can see the difference of that 10 minutes. It really makes a difference.
It absolutely does. So now we're going to talk about the downtrodden declutterers, aren't we? And what the goals might look like for them in 2023. So it's tricky if you're feeling downtrodden and you feel like you've not really got off the starting blocks. And so your goals are going to be taking it right back to basics, going, okay, I might have started out in 2022 and gone, this is my year, this is what I'm going to do. But maybe you did nothing. So you didn't achieve what you set out to achieve. And so you've got to use this opportunity to do a little reset and go, okay, this is my time. This is my moment. Now, it's not all about new year, but there is something about that change in year, which means that a lot of people are energized. I think it's not just because it's a new year, a calendar year. I think it's about the fact that we go into kind of the festive period, we enjoy ourselves, and then we get a bit like, okay, I don't know about you, Ingrid, but I'm always like, okay, I'm ready now to stop, just sort of having fun. Is that, no, I'm not ready to stop having fun. You know what I mean? You do a bit too much of it, don't you? Do you know? And you're like, okay, now I'm ready to have a dry January here. And do you know what I mean? And just try and look after myself a little bit more and do some stuff that's not just enjoying myself and do something positive. Not that not enjoying yourself is positive. I'm not really helping myself here. But what I'm trying to say is that there's something about 2023 that makes us all sit up and think we want to take action.
Yeah.
And so it's a great opportunity for change. And certainly in the decluttering world, that forms part of a lot of people's New Year's resolutions or goals for 2023.
Yeah.
So I think for downtrodden declutterers, it's really about taking it back to basics and going, what do I need to get me over the line? I think that's the important thing. There's something about what you've been doing in the past that has not worked. One of our phrases that we use all the time, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And we firmly sit behind that. And it's no different in the decluttering world. I think in the decluttering world, people think it's quite simple. People go, well, you just need to get rid of your stuff. You just need to put it into a bin bag and you just need to get rid of it. It's not complex. But actually, it's very complex for a lot of people, not for everybody. But our experience of people that are downtrodden are that it is very complex. Maybe the dynamic declutterers, it's not so complex and those decisions come a little bit easier. Or maybe they've just learned really well and done it in a sort of a structured way. But for downtrodden declutterers, those decisions do not come easily. It's not as simple as putting things into a bin bag. There's a whole load of emotion and habits that need to change and that need to be evaluated and looked at that are going to really get you over the line. So it really is about taking it back to basics and going right back to first principles, isn't it? If you're downtrodden and feel like you've not made any progress.
Yeah, and I think as well, Leslie, that, I think a lot of people who are downtrodden feel very alone and feel very like, oh my gosh, everybody around me seems to have it together and there's only me struggling here. And I think that's the feeling that people get when they come into our world. They're like, oh wow, there's other people who find this really hard too. I'm not, I'm actually, I feel like I'm understood. I feel like I'm not so lonely anymore. I feel like I'm part of something bigger, especially if a lot of people around you feel like they've all got it together. But I mean, sometimes, social media can make us feel that if people have got it together, well, in real life, they don't, but it all looks great, doesn't it, on social media? So I think we can all paint a picture of ourselves that's like this perfect house and everything, but we don't see what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know what's happening, but it sometimes can make you feel very alone if your house is not like that. If you feel a bit downtrodden and depressed and just not very happy, and you've had a really difficult time and you've had loads of bereavements and lots have happened and your health isn't what it was used to be. And when you then come into a group of like-minded people, it's like, oh, I feel so much happier now that I feel like I belong somewhere. And I think that is what I think, Leslie, we can conclude that we are one of the most proudest things that we are proud of is the fact that we provide such a fantastic community of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think community is so important. Honestly, what do we see? And it's the biggest thing that we see. It was just, I almost made that mental leap into a place where people understand me. And I've never had that before because, decluttering, there's a lot of people that struggle with clutter, but people who struggle with decluttering at that level where they feel really downtrodden, it's something that sort of pervades your life on a daily basis. That's not quite so common. And so, in your friends and family, you might be the only person who has that. And you might be known as the person, oh, that's, Leslie with the clutter or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And that's something that you've lived with for a long time, and that's hard to get over. So that community and going into a community is really, really important. Even listening to the podcast there is a podcast community around, but it's still kind of you listening to Ingrid and I. Once you go into our Facebook group, for example, then you've got that community of people who understand. And within there, you've got dynamic people, you've got dissatisfied people, and you've got downtrodden people. Do you know what I mean? So you've got a whole range of people in there and the dynamic ones can inspire you and all those kind of things. So it's important to have different people in a community as well at different stages of their journey, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So we truly believe that to kickstart your journey, a community is super, super important. And we would urge you to absolutely join the Facebook group as well if you haven't done that already. And so it's called the Declutter Hub Community. You can search it and please do go in there and pop in. There's loads of fun stuff from Ingrid and I, and even more importantly, loads of great inspirational stuff from the members in that group. So we believe community is probably the number one, to be honest, in a decluttering journey, is to make that leap into somewhere that people understand you. But we also believe that you need inspiration to get started. You need motivation and you need to understand. This is our big thing. Anybody who's listened to us for a while know that emotions and habits are the things that need to be cracked almost, aren't they, Ingrid? Yeah. You need to understand the emotions that sit behind the clutter. It's not about the stuff going into a bin bag, although that's the desired effect. It is all about understanding the why. Why do I find this so difficult? So, Ingrid, we have good news for 2023.
Yes, we are bringing back our Reset Your Home Challenge for 2023. We're starting on Tuesday, the 3rd of January. But this year, it's all new, isn't it, Leslie? We have an all improved Reset Your Home Challenge because we really wanted to change up what we were doing. And we're so excited about it. And we're launching on Tuesday, the 3rd of January. And we would love for everybody to come and join us for this challenge.
Yes, so not much time to get started in the new year, but we gave you one day. We normally start on a Monday, but we're like, maybe the 2nd of January is a little bit too soon. People are just waking up, aren't they? And it is a bank holiday here in the UK as well. So we're starting on the 3rd and we're running all the way through to the Saturday. So I know a lot of people as well have struggled in the past because we do Monday to Friday. And so now we're including a Saturday, and the Saturday will be the day that we do our Q&A. So it's lovely to go into the weekends. Love doing the weekends, Ingrid, don't we? Weekends. Let's just start 2023 with a bang. So let's talk a little bit about what the Reset Your Home Challenge is. So it's a an exploration, let's say, is that a word? Exploration?
Definitely.
Is that a word? Into certain rooms in your house and some of the emotions that sit behind those rooms. So in true alliteration style, we have the kitchen kickstart. I hope it speaks for itself. We have the bathroom blitz. So that's a new room that we're introducing for 2023. We have bedroom bonanza. We have realistic routines. And then we have the dilemma deep dive, don't we, Ingrid?
Yes.
Talk a little bit more about that, please.
Yes, we are going to answer your questions. We give our advice. You can just ask us your questions when you're in our challenge. You can send them questions in, and we're going to help you with answering those dilemmas and hopefully help you forward on your decluttering journey.
So let's talk a little bit more about the structure of the challenge, Ingrid. So we go live every day, don't we, throughout the challenge? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we do a wrap up on the Monday. Those lives are about an hour long, and that will be Ingrid and I talking about hints, tips, emotions, habits, all of the things that you need when you're working in that particular room. It will be available on replay. So if you can't make the time, then that's no problem. You can catch stuff on replay. And we have different times of the day. So we are changing it this year a little bit, or we are going for a 4 p.m. A lot of people said it's a school time in the UK, and it's a little bit later than in the States as well. So in the morning, so we are going for a 4 p.m. on 2 or 3 of the days. We've got 8 p.m.s and we've got a 10 a.m. So hopefully we can get some of our Australian and New Zealand people on board as well with that 10 a.m. slot. So we can't get every session, unfortunately, to be available for every person, but we try and make it so that it's fair across the week. And of course, Ingrid, we have bonuses and homework, and we've switched up the homework and bonuses this year, haven't we?
Yes, we thought we want to bring you some new stuff for 2023. So yes, other homework, other bonuses, and we are also doing a closed Facebook group. We're setting up a separate Facebook group for this Reset Your Home challenge, so we can log all of your you can log all of your posts in a separate Facebook group.
Now, in the past, Ingrid, our challenge has been free. And this year we have decided, haven't we, to charge actual money for our challenge. And we wanted to talk a little bit about that because it's something that we've talked about for a long time and we've gone back and forth on this decision. So we are going to charge $10, so 10 American dollars for the challenge this year. And there's a good reason why we want to charge that money. We believe that we know that there is an element of decluttering that involves accountability and commitment. Okay. And so what we have found in the past is that when we have put a free challenge out there, loads and loads of people are like, yes, I absolutely need a free challenge. That's what I'm going to do. And then sign up. And then when it comes down to actually turning up and listening to the live sessions and doing the homework and doing the bonuses, they're not there. And so what we find is that people are more committed if they've kind of got a little bit of commitment in there up front. And so that's the reason why we've done it, isn't it, Ingrid? We just feel that it needs that extra level of commitment to motivate you to turn up. Because if it's free, it's easy to kind of go, you know, I'm not really feeling that today. But actually, if you paid for something, you value it more. And so that's why we've kept it as cost effective as we can. It's only $10. I hope that you agree that that's not much money for the value that we will give you. That's going to be 6-7 hours of content, bonuses, show rounds, and all those kind of things. So we've kept it low, the price, on purpose.
Yeah.
But we've also charged for it because we feel that we want that extra level of commitment from you guys, because ultimately it's important for you to turn up and listen to what we have to say. No, that sounds it's important for you to learn about what we have to offer, and so that you can then go make a change in your home.
Yeah, I think, Leslie, what we are so committed to helping other people, and we're like, so get all excited. We're like, oh my gosh, so many people have signed up, and then at the live session is like a fraction of people are there, and we're delighted that people come, but it's like, so many people said they were going to be there. We need to put some accountability into place. We want you to make that difference in your life. We want you to change your mindset. We want you to change your home. We want you to wake up every day and go, I know what I'm going to wear. I know what I've got in my cupboards. We want you to be able to meal plan and have a control about what's in your fridge, in your pantry. We would love for you to get control of your diary and your how you spend your time. And you make that happen by having less stuff in your house. And that's, I think, where the accountability comes in, where we go, okay, you've actually paid for something. You're going to show up because we are here ready and waiting for you. Super excited to help you on that journey and on that path to having a life with less clutter, because it's so beneficial in so many other areas of your life as well. And I think that's why we said, okay, let's, instead of doing the free challenge like we've done many times before, we're going to change it up. We're going to do different topics, different rooms, different homework, different bonuses. We're going to do a closed Facebook group, and we're going to charge for it because we want that commitment from you.
Yeah, because ultimately we know that the people that don't turn up decided that they did want it. So they know that they want to go on a decluttering journey. But as I say, something went in the way, and it's just getting everybody over the line, because we know it's such a positive change for people, don't we?
Yeah.
So we just wanted to talk a little bit about that. So a whole week of Ingrid and Leslie for $10. What could be better, Ingrid?
I don't think there's much that's better, Leslie. I mean, I like hanging out with you. So, a whole week of hanging out with you is great fun. So, but please come and join us. We would love to see you. So if you're like, yes, I need to do this, I am on board, Leslie and Ingrid, go to declutterhub.com/RYH. That's short for Reset Your Home. Have a look, sign up, come and join us, and just really start 2023 like how you mean to continue the rest of that year and make those positive steps forward instead of feeling stuck another year.
Yes, of course. When you go to declutterhub.com/RYH, there's loads more information about how it all works, how it all fits together. You've got the times, the dates, all that kind of stuff is going to come through to you. So it will all be a little bit more clearer. And of course, then when we sort of start to get into the challenge, then you'll get all the resources by email as well. So I'm excited for 2023. I want people to switch up from downtrodden and dissatisfied to dynamic. What do you think, Ingrid?
I know. I think we hopefully we are dynamic leaders, and that's not great for alliteration.
Ingrid's not great for modesty. In case anybody ever didn't realize, modesty does not really form part of Ingrid's world. We realize this.
Well, you know what, Leslie? I think, come on, have a little bit of self-belief here. We've been doing such amazing things for the past 3 years. We absolutely love helping people. And that it makes us tremendously happy if we see people's success. And we want you all to be dynamic declutterers. So come and join us. We can't wait to see you. We'll be here, ready for action, ready hopefully with a smile and some good cheer for 2023. I think we're going to do a little bit of celebrating first on New Year's Eve and make sure we ring in the new year, hopefully with a glass of champagne and hopefully some friends and some laughter, and then we'll be all ready for you for Tuesday the 3rd of January. So I think we have to say a very, very happy new year to everybody. And thank you so much. Honestly, I don't think you guys even realize how much we appreciate you. We love being in your lives. We love being in your ear every week. We love being with you in the group and in the membership. Thank you so much for another fantastic year. And stay safe, stay happy, and we'll see you Tuesday.
Yes. But we have to talk about next week's podcast, just in case anybody is not going to join us, as if there are going to be people that are not going to join us for the Reset Challenge. We need to talk about next week's podcast, where we're going to be talking about the pillars of success for a decluttering journey. So we're going to build a little bit more on what we've spoken about this week. So do join us next week for the first podcast of 2023. So happy New Year from me as well. And we will see you all in 2023.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks so much for listening to the Declutter Hub podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to us in your podcast player so you don't miss an episode, and we'll see you next week.